Yes, clerk, you can confirm whether we have the requisite quorum, and equally notifying the House, the members with us through the e-platform.
Mr. Speaker, sir, the House is quorate. On the online. Mr. Speaker, sir, the House is quorate. On the online platform, we have the following members: Honorable Paul Wambaire, Honorable Esther Mwangi, Honorable Geoffrey Ngaroya, Honorable Margaret Ndogo, Honorable Ngumu Ngamau, Honorable Wangari Metho, Honorable Mary Waweru, Honorable Justus Gaita, Honorable Kimondo Lois, Honorable Margaret Ireri, Honorable Mary Wanjao, Honorable Sambegi Mukuria, and Honorable David Maitai.
Very well, quorum having been recognized, we can now proceed with the order of business today. First order.
Order number 1, administration of oath. Mr. Speaker, sir, we do not have business to transact under this order.
Next order.
Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Next order.
Order number 3, messages. Mr. Speaker, sir, we do not have business to transact under this order.
Next order.
Order number 4, petitions. Mr. Speaker, sir, the House is not seized with any petitions to consider.
Next order.
Order number 5, papers. Mr. Speaker, sir, we do not have business to transact under this order.
Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion. Mr. Speaker, sir, we do not have business to transact under this order.
Next order.
Order number 7, statements. We have a response to a statement to be responded by Honorable Samuel Mathu Wainaina, the chairperson of the Committee on Water, Environment, Tourism and Natural Resources.
Yes, and before I invite the chair, is the seeker of the statement and member for Orokarau, Honorable Ken Mukira Mahianyu, with us. You can check from the e-platform. Very well. Yes, Chairperson, Committee on Water, Environment, Tourism and Natural Resources, and member for Mirangini, Honorable Samuel Mathu Wainaina. Yes, I can see a report on the statement, and it is prudent to be in the dispatch box, and it is prudent, first of all, to table that report. Then you proceed with now responding to the raised concerns.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, and I table.
Very well. That report is on that response is duly tabled, and now you can proceed with highlighting the response.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, pursuant to provision of Standing Order number 45-2C, Honorable Ken Mukera sought a statement on the first day of November 2020 from the Chair Committee and Water, Environment, Tourism and Natural Resources on the operation of Orkarau Water and Sanitation Company, or WASCO. And the statement was as follows. Aware that Constitution recognizes the access to safe and sufficient water is a basic human right, and that it is also assigned responsibility for water supply, provision of sanitation to the counties. Further aware, His Excellency the Governor, by the Executive Order number 4 of 2020 directed the CCM responsible for water to prepare a frame for provision of free water in the month of April and May. Noting that Nyandarua County did approve an allocation under the vote-head water cost, that is Water Company, Kiosk and Community Water Project, which was allocated 7 million for the payment of the fee under the COVID-19 emergency intervention. Concerned that the residents of Orkarau town and its environ continue to be charged, concerning that residents of Orkarau town and its environs continue to be charged exorbitant price for the pipe, which other experience water disconnection and high connection charges. Appreciating that the county supply water to neighbor county without reciprocal benefit to the residents of the county. Arising from the foregoing, I seek the chairman of the Committee of Water, Environment, Tourism and Natural Resources to provide the following. Concern number 1. What the proposed strategy have been employed to provision of water service during the last 6 months. Mr. Speaker, the proposed strategy employed by Orwesco include a stoppage of water disconnection and ensuring that availability of hand washing facilities at the water kiosk, quite particular the company pursuant to the Ministry of Water, Sanitation and Irrigation guidelines. We have an extra 2. Suspend water disconnection from 17th March 2020 prior to the issuance of suspension directive by the county government through the letter dated 8th April 2020. We have the Annex 3. Further, the water service provider submitted approval. The same we have an extra 4 on the poor framework for provision of free water services to the CCM for the approval and funding. However, no document was provided to prove that the proposal was approved by the CCM as intended in the submissions. Mr. Speaker, concern number 2 was whether the water tariff were gazetted, and if so, furnish the particulars of the gazettement. Mr. Speaker, according to the information provided, the Orwesco water tariff were gazetted by WASREP on 25th January 2013, though the gazette notice or number through the Gazette Notice number 1055, Annexure number 5. The tariff stipulates water charges, reconnection fee, deposit charges, penalties, and other service charge. These charges have been in application since the gazettement. An application for the review of the said tariff in 2017 was heard following an advice by WASREP to have them put on hold till the completion of the company's sewerage project, which was said to be financed through a loan advance by the Africa Development Bank. The intention was to incorporate sewerage charges into the to review the water tariff. We have concern number 3. What is the matter? This is concerning what is the matter rent, that is a standing charge and the reconnection fee, Mr. Speaker. The Gazette notice provided to the committee indicate that Orwasco maintained a water standing charge of 500 for its clients and charges a reconnection fee of 500. We have concern number 4, whether the company benefit from the COVID emergency intervention by the county, and if so, how the intervention impacted on the company. Mr. Speaker, the committee was informed that Orwasco was allocated 1 million from the emergency fund for COVID-19 emergency responses. On that, the company requested this money was intended to 1. Procure protective equipment worth 100,000. 2. Purchase pipes and fitting at a cost of 552,221 shillings. And number 3, pay for water tracking service 100,000 and purchase of chemical worthy 247,779. However, the company received only water pipes and fitting worthy 552,221 by the time of compiling the statement response. The company had not received the other item indicated above. Concern number 5. What is the amount of fine for late payment of water bills? Mr. Speaker, the committee noted that the company does not fine clients for late payment of the water bill. As well, it's disconnecting water from non-payable of the same client are charged only on reconnection fee of 500. No information was provided on the fine imposed upon late payment of the water bill. Mr. Speaker, the concern number 6 was how efficient is the water billing system adopted by the company. On the efficiency of the water billing system adopted by Orwasco, the committee was informed that the company approved a system procuring in the year 2016. Notable, the system is audited annually by the Auditor General and has always been approved for effectiveness and accuracy. Concern number 7. A report on income and expenditure return for the last financial year, Mr. Speaker, sir. The report on the company income and expenditure returns for the financial year 2019-2020 is attached as Annexure 6. It details the annual wage bill as well as the operational and maintenance expenses. That is, we have as the Annex 6. Mr. Speaker, I go to the concern number 8, the number of employees in the company and the total annual wage bill. Mr. Speaker, based on the submissions received by the committee, the company has 27 employees. In addition, it engages casual laborers on need basis that provide wage bill for the year financial 2019-2020 was Kenya shillings 10,989,752, which was 37% of the company annual budget. This is within the 40% capping by the WASREP. The last concern, Mr. Speaker, was the status of the water company infrastructure, which should include the capacity, status of water intake points, status of the storage facilities, coverage of pipeline within the Olkarau municipality, and the capacity to promptly address leakages. The company has a decentralized treatment facility that has adequate treatment capacity. It also has a storage tank which capacity of 2,400 meter cubed. However, the water intake situated at the upper Marewa River is overdrawn, rendering the water received, especially during the dry seasons, insufficient that comparing the company to the great water use. Additionally, some of the company's pipe works are either broken or blocked and hence ought to be replaced. Further, the committee was informed that there is dispute over a piece of land within Olkarau town, which one of the company boreholes is situated. Mr. Speaker, after going through the response from the CEC, the committee made the following observation. Having pursued the documents submitted, the committee concluded that only some aspects of submission were convincing. In this regard, the committee arrived the following observation and finding pertaining to the queries under investigation. Considering the critical of water during this extraordinary time of the COVID-19 pandemic, the committee found the information provided on the extent of implementation of proper framework for provision of free water services unsatisfied. The submission were vague and regard the actual approval or finding of the said framework. The committee could not ascertain whether implementation of the company sewerage project that was indicated to have been financed through the loan from the Africa Development Bank was complete by the time of compiling the statement response. It is therefore the basis of determining whether the halted process of receiving the company water tariff was revived and whether the sewerage charges in question were introduced in the water tariff. The committee observed that of the item and service that were to be funded by 1 million from the emergency fund, only the 552,222 shillings were supplied to the company. The committee wondered how the department utilized the remaining 447,779. The rule requires that utilization of the money drawn from the emergency fund be reported to the county assembly to ensure financial prudence and accountability. In this regard, the committee could not determine whether the company significantly benefited from the COVID-19 emergency interventions. No documentation was provided to prove that Orwasco water billing system has undergone annual audit since it reported approval in 2016. Mr. Speaker, the committee questioned the sufficiency of the company water provision service, considering its pipe works had been broken or blocked. It few of this committee concluded that even in the event there is sufficient water drawn right at the intake point at Upper Malewa, adequate supply of water to the company client would be a challenge. Considering the rise in concern 5 about the committee questioned the company capacity to meet leakages and rectify other technical challenges related to the water supply. The committee did not receive any detail regarding the dispute over the company piece of land in Orokarau town. It could, for instance, not establish who the other party in the dispute was on that occasion. The dispute. This raised questions regarding the fate of the client who enjoy provision of water from the borehole. Should legal questions be placed on the said piece of land, hence suspending the usage of the borehole? Mr. Speaker, I think the response are Mr. Speaker, rising from the response, the committee shall continue to aggressively execute its mandate to ensure that the Department of Water, Environment, and Tourism and Natural Resources conforms to the Provision of Water Act 2016 and exhausts the light channel to ensure the company adheres to the corporate governance standard in water provision. Moreover, the committee shall make follow-up on the scope of operation of the proper framework for the provision of free water services. If granted leave by the House, the committee too will conduct inquiry into whether the company's sewerage project stated above was fully implemented. Further, it will employ the relevant mechanism to probe how far the company has gone to replacing of the broken and blocked pipe work to ensure that the client enjoys adequate water. Beside, the committee feels obliged for the reliable information on what mechanism the company has explored to solve the RAD dispute over the parcel of the RAD in Orokarau, on which one of the borehole is situated. Mr. Speaker, I want to take this chance to thank your office for facilitating my committee during when we were working on this response. And also, I would like to appreciate my members, led by me as the chair. We have the Honorable Ruben Getau as my vice chair. We have Hussein Dongo Kasana, member, John Kieru, Honorable John Kieru, Honorable Ruse Wagari, Honorable Samuel Jada, and Honorable David Maitai. We also have Honorable Justus Kaita Wagura and Honorable Kenneth Mukera, who was the seeker of this statement. We all did all our mandates, Mr. Speaker, and I can conclude by saying I am always encouraged by Franklin Roosevelt timeless caution that we should think of land and water and human resources not as static and serious position, but as life-giving assets to be directed by wise provision for future days. Mr. Speaker, there is also the Charles Mackey say that water is the mother of the vine and the nurse and the nurse and the fountain of fecundity, the adorner and the refresher of the world. In agreeing with this, I urge all the stakeholders in the county water sector to take up governance and aggressively play their role toward promoting water services delivery, and moreover, the county government should relentlessly play its part in facilitating efficient and adequate provision of clean water to every household in the county. The CCM for the water environment and natural resources should explore every mechanism and strategy to alleviate ever-hunting challenges of water provision in the county. Finally, local water service provider ought to continually improve their institution capacity for sustainable service delivery. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sir.
Very well. Maybe before I invite any other person or any other member, I can see member for Karau, Honorable Ken Mukira Mahianyo, and the seeker of the statement, who is in the e-platform. Mheshimiwa, this is your opportunity to indicate whether you are comfortable with the response that has just been given.
So thank you, Mr. Speaker. From the response from the chair, that is Honorable Samuel Madum, the chair of Water Committee. Mr. Speaker, I think it is now raising some red lights. You know, you can hear that the water docket has a lot of issues to be addressed. The Water Committee, the able management of the managing director who is doing good work, the companies are undergoing a lot of challenges. Unless the committee and also the assembly and also the executive agree to support the water company, the water docket, it is coming out very, very straight that we have a lot of challenges, like the issue of water, sustainability in Olkalau, the charges, which are exploiting to the community in Olkalau. The breakdown of pipes, which pipes are broken down, which is now the mandate of the water company to make sure that they repair, because the community is paying water every now and then. Mr. Speaker, I think there is something that needs to be done on the issue about water in Olkalau, the surrounding areas, the support, the audit, and also the follow-up on any amount that is given to that water company. Mr. Speaker, if you go to one of the manifestos of His Excellency the Governor, which I also came on board, which was also part of my manifesto, we had agreed we are going to reduce what we call the water tariff charges, whereby the standing charge in Olkalau and the surrounding, being water supply to the community through gravity, is more expensive. It's more expensive compared to areas whereby they get water through electricity, through transmission from other counties. They pay a very considerable standing charge and also the fixed charge. Just when we talk about the tariff to the people of Olkalau, even if you don't use water in your residence, you are also subjected to pay 550 shillings. That is the fixed charge. If you use some water to do extra work, like you're doing some construction in your site, you're subjected to pay extra money that is very exploiting, hindering the growth of Olkalau and also for development by the people within, incoming and also those within Olkalau. Mr. Speaker, the issue about the safeguarding of our manifesto, we had promised that we are going to reduce that charge, so that people can see that the government in place also able to listen to their public participation grievances. That was a starting charge. 4 years down the line, you're still charging them 550 shillings. We are heading to general election next year. That will be one question. His Excellency the Governor, to also me, a member of Okara, the Governor had agreed under his power to change the standing charge. So, Mr. Speaker, irrespective that we also want to safeguard one self office, we also need to give equal service delivery to our people. Let's have equal service for equal pay. If I'm paying 550 shillings for in charge, can I have enough money, enough water, at least to make sure that I'm sustainable? The money, the service I'm paying, I'm also not feeling the pinch of paying money I don't get service to. Last year, we still also need to come, and it's very okay if, Mr. Speaker, I beg you give a leave to the committee to continue on the issue about the sewerage system, whereby you have a lot of issues with the community. It has gone to a demonstration level, it has gone to the public media, it has straightened whereby the sewage company is in their piece of land, in town areas, people have what 50%. So if you put manhole of 1 meter diameter, that is 3 in a 50 by 100 piece of land, and you also give condition that you cannot develop that piece of land, whereby the sewage line have passed through that piece of land. It tells you that you have made that person landless, you have killed that development in that person, you have not done what you call proper public participation. It was not done on the sewer line. To agree on those people to be compensated, to agree on those people whereby you need to give them time and request them at least to tell them where you're going to, the sewer line is going to pass to. Still on the issue about water, you are also very hopeful on the project, as the sewer line project, water project, that it may come to hill the issue about water challenges in Olkalau. But as a committee, as a house, are we able to give that information to our community? Those devolved functions that are under the county government. That's about what? About sewer. Whenever a consultant, a contractor is given that tender, is he able to work with the county government, also involving the committee that is concerned? It has come out very clearly. I'm also a committee member. But the sewer line committee, none of the members is involved. I've seen the CS from water come from all the way from Nairobi to inspect the project. None of the county officer is involved. So, Mr. Speaker, I think we need also to safeguard devolution, whereby water is a devolved function of the county. Let us have the water committee involved. Let us have the CC water also, his docket being involved. Let us not play hide and seek on projects for the interest of people that some people want to use them for political mileage. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I support the report.
Very well. It seems the speaker of the statement and member for Karau is somehow satisfied with the response, but indicated that from the prayer that the committee had sought that the committee be granted leave so that it can be in a position to inquire about the company's sewerage project, whether it was implemented and at which stage or level, and equally the issue to do with the land dispute, where one of its major borehole is premised. So I think before I invite Chair, Committee on Water, Environment and Natural Resources, I will invite maybe any other comments relating or any other concerns relating to issues on water, not limited only to Orokarau Water and Sanitation Company, but that might be cutting across. And first of all, give preference to the members who are in the e-platform. Members within the e-platform, any other member who wishes to comment on the same? Very well. Then any other member within the president? Yes, a member for Wajohi, Honorable Isakomo Wajiro.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to thank the speaker of the statement. It's a very fundamental issue and a concern, especially in our capital and our headquarters, Karau. I also want to thank the Chairman Water and his committee for the response. But Mr. Speaker, if you look at that response, you realize that we have very serious issues and challenges that are facing the water company or WASCO. And Mr. Speaker, I don't think it will be sufficient for this assembly just to accept that response and sit pretty that we have dealt with the issue. I happen to interact with a lot of Karau residents. I'm also concerned because the water comes from my ward, that is our Malewa River upstream. That's where the intake is. And Mr. Speaker, you are going to realize that Karau is growing. It's become a headquarter for this county. So the need for water is increasing every day. The other thing, Mr. Speaker, you are going to realize, we have a sewerage project at the national government that is ongoing, a huge one. We also have a water treatment project that is also ongoing. Eventually, after these projects are done by the national government, I'm not expecting that it is the national government that will be managing them. They will be handed over to the county government, and more specifically, to Orwasco because they are within the municipality and Orkarau. Now the main question that I'm asking and I'm concerned as a resident of Nyandarua, and I find myself with a lot of interest in Orkarau, does Orwasco has the capacity to manage water in our headquarters? And this should raise a flag, and more specifically to the chairman, water. We don't want to point fingers, Mr. Speaker, but it is high time we investigate on the capacity of this company. It is too far much time gone that we have been expecting a water policy from the CEC water. And we thought that within this water policy, it is going to incorporate the management of these companies and how they are supposed to do business. If you are not going to plan at this level, later years to come, when Orkarau is already grown and a lot of population, we will not be able to change some of the issues that we might be able to change now. So we need to sit down. And I'm of the opinion that the seeker of the statement should not stop at that statement. We should convert this into a motion where we are going by to involve a kind of an inquiry. Let us have the municipality representative. Let us have the company or WASCO representative. Let us have the committee of water there. Let us have the executive and the department of water. Let us sit down and ask ourselves, what do we want to achieve? I sympathize with the people of Orkarau. Most of the time, they pay 500 shillings. And you'll find that most of the time are the times that those taps are dry. So there is no benefit. They find themselves buying water from vendors, yet they have pipes and they are paying every month. We need to solve that. We also need to ask ourselves, when we are given the sewerage system, how are we going to manage it? How are we going to deal with the treatment of that? So can we have some kind of an inquiry such that we are able to come up with a strategic plan for our company? Let us know the challenge, if it is a financial need, if it is the institutional need, if it is the technical need. How can we equip it to have the technical capacity, to have the governance capacity, to have the financial capacity, so that we can be able to achieve the objective that it is intended. Otherwise, the way it is, there is no difference between Orwasco and a self-help group in my village that is managing water to give to my people, my resident. We expect a more technical team that is going to deal with the issues of water more specifically now that we are within a municipality. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. That is my proposal, and I think maybe the water department, the water committee would consider to do that.
Any other comment or concern? Maybe Chair, allow you to comment on the raised concerns, and equally after commenting on the same, you inform this House how much time would your committee require to finish up with that statement, at least if the need be, to generate a motion from the same. And what I would wish to say is that before I invite you, Chair, is that Member for Wajohi is raising a very pertinent issue, and equally the seeker of the statement, that even borrowing from the Water Act 2016, I think the department should be in a position to be having a county water policy, whether through the Nyawasco or WASCO, so that the issue to do with water tariffs and the likes be addressed within a legal framework. And maybe the issue to do with the other issues touching on water, bearing in mind that Nyandarua, we have a very reliable sources of water from the upper layers, but we do not benefit from them. That's already being the Sasuma Dam and other check dams that are here that were done in the colonial era, and they are one of the shared resources but maybe because of the design, they cannot be viable sources of water for Nyandarua people. I think this is the high time. Equally, we know we lobby together. Let it be a collective responsibility from the national leaders and the leaders from this county. We lobby for a viable project like the common Marewa Dam that is being mentioned now and then, so that this issue of boreholes, so we cannot ignore that. As we wait for that, we must have quick fixes for our people through the boreholes and the dams we have. So, Chair, I think this is the high time, and this is the third time that this issue is coming in the floor of this House about the water policy. So the floor is yours, and kindly inform the House how much time would your committee require equally to address that issue of that water policy.
Thank you, Chair. And I start by assuring this House that we'll do the inquiry to make sure that we give the House a full report on the status of the Ruasco, and also to maybe to get correct information on the areas that we have not been able to respond well. And also, I have a concern about the Oruasco that is concerning the human manpower and maybe human resource for the company to work on the sewer line, because as now we are talking about 37 employee who are permanent, and also we all know that when the sewer line will be completed, we need to have technicians who will be able to work on it, and maybe by the look of the capacity as it is now, it is somehow wanting, and maybe we need to call all the stakeholders. We sit down, we see what we shall do as Mheshimiwa Kongo have requested, to make sure that the people of this town are able to get enough water, not only for the sewerage. I understand, Mr. Speaker, sir, when the President was here, he was to flood some 10 ring borehole across the town to make sure it back up the water intakes. We need to know the status, where if the borehole are now already drilled, are they supplying water to the town? And maybe, as you said, Mr. Speaker, sir, we need only 30 days to bring a good report. But considering the situation that now we are having of the COVID-19 pandemic, we can extend it to 45 days. Also, Mr. Speaker, sir, I need to inform the House that we have the county water policy with us as the committee, and we are working on it. And maybe before next or before next week, maybe we are asking for your facilitation for the committee to go through. Maybe you facilitate the committee to go somewhere they can go through the policy and the act together, so that we can furnish, we can work on it and bring it here to the House. Maybe with that, Mr. Speaker, I would like to request you and maybe the members, the other honorable members, to support us on the bill, because and the policy, because in every ward we have the charge of water and the water committees. So we need to be strict, and we need the support of all honorable members so that we can bring up a very conclusive policy in the House. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Very well. I think that is good progress from the Committee on Water. And kindly let by next week the draft proposal on that bill and on that act be tabled in the House, and the office of the clerk and the office of the Speaker will equally make sure that the committee is facilitated so that you'll be in a position to carry out your mandate. On the same, it is prudent when you are now inquiring more about Orwasco and Yawasco. I think it is prudent to invite the municipal board so that you'll be in a position now to address all these conflicting duties and powers, so that it is clearly known the work of the Orwasco and equally the work of the municipal board in terms of addressing or in terms of issues to do with water. So I think 1.5 months is not much, but make sure that within that timelines the same is done. And if the need be for a motion, Mheshimiwa, let it be done. Very well, having done with the statement, can now proceed to the next order.
Order number 8, motions and bills. Mr. Speaker, sir, we do not have business to transact under this order.
Next order.
Mr. Speaker, sir, the business allotted for the morning session has been exhausted.
Very well, honorable members, today's morning session business having been exhausted, this House now will start adjourned up to today. This is Wednesday, the 7th day of April 2021 at 2:30 p.m. in the afternoon.